evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this very special virtual occasion. Welcome to our inaugural Justice Served fundraising event. When we first conceived of Justice Served, little did we know that we would have to shift its debut from the venue of an in-person event to an online virtual event through Zoom. There was nothing at the time that would have tipped us off that this would ever be a possibility. But here we are, together in a new and different way, and I am so grateful that you all decided to join us. We know that everyone's favorite part of these events is getting to catch up with friends, colleagues that they haven't seen in a while. So I really want to encourage you to use the chat function in Zoom to make this as interactive as possible. We're also going to be recognizing our donors tonight through the chat box as well. So make sure you visit our website to make a gift. At Community Legal Aid SoCal, just as we moved quickly to reimagine this event in response to the circumstances caused by COVID-19, so has our program nimbly pivoted and adjusted to take on the challenges of operating during a pandemic. During this time, we have also felt called to address the issues brought forward in the civil unrest and peaceful protests after the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Daniel Prude, and Ahmaud Arbery earlier this year, the unjustified shooting of Jacob Blake more recently, and countless others. There is no doubt that the recent restructuring of our program into legal practice groups was serendipitous to our ability to respond quickly to both the health crisis and the societal inequities finally brought into the spotlight throughout the country. With staff already working collaboratively across locations in specialized units, we were rightly positioned to immediately attune and respond to the specific needs and challenges presented by these life-changing events. It is also through these times and conditions we have seen how our shared organizational values have helped to sustain us. The values of accountability, collaboration, compassion, excellence, and trust are constant in our work and how staff interacts with our clients and with each other. One of the root definitions for the word inspire is to breathe life into. And so it is that our staff are the inspiration for our values. Our staff breathe life into our values with each action they take. This was clearly apparent as they gracefully tackled the change in our working landscape and adjusted themselves to best meet the needs of our clients since the pandemic started. As difficult as these times have been, and even though we are physically distant from each other, it is clear that we are a resilient bunch and we have bonded to each other as never before. As a result, I am extremely proud to say that we've become an even stronger legal services organization. I really hope you will enjoy tonight's event. We've got some fun things planned, including a virtual dance party featuring our staff, an interactive virtual adventure that some of you will join us for after the program portion of the event. But before we go there, we will hear some inspiring thoughts about justice from people you are sure to recognize. Messages from our board leadership, a powerful story from one of our clients, and a conversation with our pro bono partner of the year. Settle in, get comfortable, pour yourself a gin and justice, a glass of wine, or my personal favorite, a blackberry sparkling water, and let's get started.
Making justice real for Southern California means closing the gap between what the law says and what really happens in families' lives. As a consumer protection advocate, I've seen just how big that gap can be. The law may prohibit a business from cheating a consumer or prohibit landlords from discriminating against renters, and yet those things happen. So when we achieve real justice, we will make sure that what the law says is what the law does in families' everyday lives.
Justice is the heart of the vision shared by Americans since our country was founded, a vision we must endeavor to work and fight across generations for to achieve a better future for our children and grandchildren. From the abolishment of slavery to the women's suffrage movement that led to the ratification of the 19th Amendment 100 years ago, the American story has always been driven by the determination and conviction of ordinary men and women who believed in the promise of a better tomorrow, with justice and equal opportunity for all, and were willing to fight against injustice. And this struggle continues. Our country is at a crossroads. Racial justice, economic justice, environmental justice, and pay and marriage equality will not be achieved without our continued commitment to the vision we share for a more equal and just world. We have a responsibility to continue the work of those who came before us, who fought and struggled to create a better future for us to build upon. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
Justice requires many things, but it must include that no one is denied legal services because of lack of funds. Amidst all that's going on around us, community legal services is more important now than ever.
Justice is eliminating the social, political, and economic drivers of structural racism.
Justice is a human right, but one that is all too often denied to those most vulnerable. Our right to justice may be endowed to each of us, but that doesn't mean we can for 1 minute pause in our fight to preserve it and to see it extended to all people. Justice is a fight and a path. It is a fight we must commit to and a path we must take to ensure the betterment of not just ourselves, but our world.
Justice will become real in Southern California when every attorney approaches his or her tasks with a servant's heart. It starts with compassion and collaboration. Compassion comes first. Unless we can feel another person's pain, we can never be fully effective in our work. We will just be separating ourselves from the problem.
Justice is dismantling systemic inequities and racist structures that have plagued this nation for centuries and led to unjust and inequitable outcomes. Making justice real for Southern California.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. My name is Mei Sang, and I'm your co-committee chair for this wonderful event. This is the Community Legal Aid 2020 Justice Serve event, and we're so glad that you're here. Before we get started, there are a few folks I would like to thank. First, I'd like to thank my committee members, and they are Nafi Acosta, Mike Behrens, Jared Bunker, Doug Davidson, Anna Davids, Blaine Evanson, Lauren Grocko, Alan Slater, Alex Shaw, and Lele Wing Ekbal. Along with them, I also would like to extend a big thank you to our Community Legal Aid staff members who made it all possible. And they are Emily Wing, Tammy Lazara, Millie Hurd, and Marilyn Zipkoff, along with our director, Kate Marr. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Lauren, my co-chair.
Hi, I'm Lauren Grocko. Thank you to our sponsors for moving forward alongside us during these unprecedented times and supporting our mission of helping our neighbors fight injustice by providing compassionate, high-quality legal aid and advocating for stronger communities. I want to welcome back many familiar friends who attended the November 2019 event at the Dominguez Rancho Adobe. While we won't have the delicious food from local vendors and we won't be able to clap along together to the live marching band at this year's virtual event, rest assured that even though we're doing things a little differently this year, and even though we won't be able to celebrate in person, we still have an amazing program planned, including the opportunity to see some of our Community Legal Aid SoCal staff and families dance to the beat of the Dominguez High School Marching Band. Please enjoy this virtual dance party.
I hope you all enjoyed that virtual dance party. I'm pretty sure that I saw some of you dancing from the comfort of your own home. I think that experience was just a really great reminder that during these times especially, we really shouldn't take ourselves too seriously. And now you all know another secret of mine, that not only am I not a professional bartender, I'm also not a professional dancer. At any rate, that was just another example of how our staff and their families are able to pivot and participate when called to do so. The way advocacy staff and case management staff approached this case and others are examples of the direction we have been moving in as an organization. We see the integration of case management into our legal work as a next step in the evolution of our program, what I like to call Restructure 2.0. With this second phase of the restructure, we are honoring our commitment to our clients, our staff, and the community we serve to do better, be better, and stay open and responsive to cultural shifts and more effective ways of approaching lawyering and interacting with our clients. It is acting on our pledge to be a trauma-informed, trauma-responsive legal services program. To have a case manager and an attorney working together is an example of how we have already moved forward in this commitment. In fact, we've hired 3 case managers who work in collaboration with our attorneys to holistically meet the needs of our clients. Another focus of the second phase of the restructure is addressing issues of equity, implicit bias, and cultural humility. We had originally intended to begin this process in 2021, but given the recent national focus on systemic racial inequities brought to light by the unjustified violence against Jacob Blake, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Daniel Prude, and too many more to count, we realized that this work could not wait. Our program has historically served a client base made up of primarily people of color, and we must do better. Looking at these issues in an intentional way will transform and further evolve the way we interact with and serve our clients, and also how we work together with our colleagues. Of course, we understand that these processes will take time and will be ongoing. They will also require our sustained effort, which we are committed to do. So this takes us to our next segment, one that celebrates generous pro bono support from Latham & Watkins, a firm that has shown its commitment to ensuring that justice is served equitably to all members of our community.
Community Legal Aid SoCal had been engaged in outreach to the homeless population on the riverbed in Orange County for a number of years. Through that experience, we learned how vulnerable this population was, the precarious situation they were living in, the disabilities, both mental and physical, that were presenting challenges in their life. And even so, they were able to find a degree of stability with the community that they formed on the riverbed. In January 2018, the county announced its plan to close down the riverbed. This was going to result in the displacement of the entire population, and the county didn't have a plan in terms of providing services or programs or housing as an alternative for individuals that really had nowhere else to go. So the county proceeded with its plan, and Legal Aid filed a civil rights suit in federal court on behalf of 7 homeless individuals and an organizational plaintiff. The facts in this case developed very quickly. There were multiple stakeholders in court proceedings, and the court itself put a lot of pressure on all the parties to find solutions on an expedited basis. Given all that, we wanted to include pro bono counsel in this case and bring in expertise. And when we started thinking about who to reach out to, Latham & Watkins came to mind very quickly. Some of the reasons why Latham came to mind is because of their stellar reputation in the pro bono community, the fact that they are leading contributors to pro bono hours in Orange County, and hearing our partner organizations mention how deeply committed to these issues Latham is and was, and they were highly involved in a similar homeless litigation case in a different part of the country. So all of that made Latham the perfect pro bono counsel to ask for help and to ask us to join us. And with that, we reached out to them. So I will turn it over to you, Andrew, if you want to talk about joining our team.
Thank you, Michelle. When Community Legal Aid reached out to us for our help in February 2018, we quickly jumped on the opportunity to become part of such an important chance to affect change in our community. Latham had a team of more than a dozen attorneys working on the case. Today, Miri Gold, Ali O'Hara, and Grant Struther have joined me to talk about it. Community Legal Aid really presented an ideal partnership for us. They had experts who'd studied the laws affecting homelessness and really understood the client. They had developed some novel legal arguments that really excited us and presented an opportunity for us to achieve a better outcome for the homeless than other lawsuits in other parts of California. In return for being part of this groundbreaking litigation, Latham could offer the resources and litigation expertise to help Community Legal Aid develop powerful legal arguments and strategies to drive this litigation to the great result we achieved.
Andrew, why is pro bono personally important to you, and why is it important to Latham and Watkins?
Well, I, like many attorneys, pursued a legal career because I wanted to help people and make the world a better place. And through law school and practice over the last 10 plus years, I've developed some invaluable skills, and with that, a responsibility to promote justice for everyone, especially those who can't afford representation to pursue their own rights. Like me, Latham and Watkins strongly believes that all attorneys share a responsibility to create positive change. This case was perfectly aligned with Latham's pro bono mission, to provide legal services to those in the communities with the greatest need and the least ability to pay.
And to turn it over to the rest of the team, Miri, what did you find particularly compelling about this particular case?
Thank you, Michelle. What was so compelling about this case is that it presented a unique opportunity for Latham to use its incredible resources to serve some of the most vulnerable individuals in our society. In winter 2018, the County of Orange deployed uniformed police officers to arrest or otherwise remove homeless individuals with mental and physical disabilities from their makeshift homes in the Santa Ana riverbed. For them, the riverbed had become a sanctuary and provided them with a sense of community and belonging. So when uniformed police officers unexpectedly showed up to remove them, it left many of these individuals traumatized. Latham was able to use the full panoply of its resources with the full support of the firm's management to advocate for these individuals who otherwise had very little voice of their own to defend themselves. Not only was the case a powerful opportunity to protect vulnerable individuals, it also presented Latham an incredible opportunity to effect real and lasting impactful change in our own community and backyard. Latham was able to partner with phenomenal community-based groups to ensure the adoption of fair and humane approaches to the growing homelessness problem in Orange County, while also preserving the homeless individual's dignity and sense of safety.
Thank you so much, Miri. And Ali, if I could turn to you and ask what you think are the most important outcomes of this case.
There were several very important outcomes in this case, one of which was the general shift away from punishing Orange County residents for being homeless to treating them with respect and dignity, as Miri mentioned. To that end, the settlement established several new policies regarding the county's treatment of individuals experiencing homelessness. First, new uniform standards of care were deployed for county-funded homeless shelters, and these established guidelines for ensuring the health, safety, and security of shelter residents across the county. Second, the county committed to funding trauma-informed clinical assessments to help ensure that service providers from the private and public sectors effectively identify and serve the complex mental health needs of our clients. And finally, the settlement established clear ADA reasonable accommodation procedures for all county programs, services, and activities relating to homelessness. And this will ensure that all individuals, regardless of any disability, have meaningful access to these programs. Staff will also be trained to recognize when a reasonable accommodation should be considered due to an individual's disability. Our team is hopeful that all of these outcomes will meaningfully improve our clients' quality of life and affect permanent change.
Okay, last but not least, Grant, if I could ask you to describe how you worked in partnership with Community Legal Aid attorneys on this case.
Thanks, Michelle. This matter was a true collaboration from start to finish, but it also involved a very efficient division of labor. As Andrew mentioned, Community Legal Aid has deep experiences in the issues that were at play in the litigation. As a result, Community Legal Aid was able to take the lead in reaching out to clients, especially clients whose issues could affect real change. Community Legal Aid also led the charge in setting goals and strategy for the litigation, and because of its great credibility in speaking on the issues at play, Community Legal Aid was highly effective in presenting those issues to the court and also to the public. On our end, Latham is one of the country's largest law firms with tremendous resources for successfully navigating complex litigation. As a result, we were very happy to leverage our resources to power the litigation, especially behind the scenes. This included helping Community Legal Aid gather facts on the ground, draft and research motions and other briefs, and just generally leveraging our legal and drafting expertise to help Community Legal Aid transform its vision for a better future for our clients into executable agreements.
Grant, thank you so much. I echo and feel the same about the outcomes in this case. I think in meeting our clients and working with them, realized and heard from them how often they felt not heard and discounted, and they're part of a very much marginalized part of our society. And in reaching, this agreement with the county and working on the policies and procedures, one of the best benefits, as our clients have reflected, is being a part of that process and being able to shape that process and overhaul the way in which the county's delivering these services. And Ali, like you said, these due process protections that were put in place, changing the way that outreach workers are engaging with their clients and acknowledging, that they have to use trauma-informed approaches and account for disabilities to make engagement effective. All of that is very important to our clients, and they think that they've really made an impact for the homeless population in Orange County. That's going to be major for the coming years.
The resolution we reached really recognized the humanity of our clients and gave them a piece of what they need and what every person needs in living a healthy and safe life in Orange County.
I think this case, the outcome really just gave voice to people who are otherwise voiceless, and it forced the county to reckon with this homelessness problem that I think it had been avoiding for a very long time. And it's giving resources to a long-standing issue that other counties can learn from. So I think justice has really been served in this instance.
I agree with all of that. And in addition, the settlement that was reached in this case implements a paradigm shift that just changes the way that the county will deal with the intersection of homelessness and disability that, as Miri said, and as we all hope, will be mirrored throughout the country.
In closing, I just want to, on behalf of Community Legal Aid SoCal, our clients, express our deepest gratitude for Latham and Watkins, Andrew, Mary, Ali, Grant, and everyone else from Latham that worked on this case. I just really want you guys to know how incredibly amazing you are. You're just, yeah.
Well, thank you, Michelle.
One of a kind.
That does mean a lot. And I'll tell you, I think all of us have had lots of pro bono experiences. This was one of the best. We had a fantastic team. You guys knew the law, everything about it. And it was easy for us to just jump in and help out, offer our resources. So the feeling is mutual.
Likewise. Thanks so much, Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle and Community Legal Aid.
Yep, thanks, Michelle and Community Legal Aid.
It has been an absolute delight working with all of you, and I thank you very much.
Thank you again to Latham and Watkins for their tremendous pro bono work on the Ramirez case. You have helped make a significant difference in the lives of some of the most vulnerable in our community, and we are so grateful for your support. Pro bono support is vital to the ability of legal services organizations like us to serve clients, particularly during the pandemic. The numbers of people impacted by the global pandemic continue to rise, and the impact is felt beyond just the illness itself. Our community is faced with rising unemployment and loss of health insurance, increased domestic violence, evictions, and foreclosures. Legal aid organizations in our community and throughout the state must have pro bono support to meet these growing needs. The only way that we can begin to close the tremendous justice gap is through partnership. We must move past the traditional model of working in silos and come together with our sister programs to build capacity statewide. We can do this by working together to recruit and train volunteer attorneys in partnership with local bar associations and their membership. Given the increased use of and comfort with remote technologies, we have the opportunity to develop innovative ways to serve clients who live in the remote parts of our state and in our individual service areas. Many legal issues are not location specific. So for example, a lawyer in San Francisco or LA could presumably help a client living in a legal desert. This concept is a real departure from the traditional models of pro bono attorney service, but these times call for creative solutions. During all phases of the pandemic and its aftermath, we must do our very best to ensure sufficient legal representation for as many low-income people as possible. And we invite you to join us in this effort. So now I would like to introduce an attorney who has volunteered his time and service to CLA SoCal as a member of our board. I am grateful to share that his firm, Houston Hennigan, has been a steadfast supporter and once again made a significant gift of support for this event. Please meet our board president, Mike Behrens.
Hi, I'm Mike Behrens, president of the Board of Directors for Community Legal Aid SoCal. Thank you for joining us tonight at our virtual event, Justice Served. Stories like Rosette's would not be possible without the generous and thoughtful engagement of our community partners, such as Latham Watkins, recipient of our Pro Bono Partner of the Year Award for 2020. As an attorney, I have seen firsthand the power of the legal system to achieve justice for the deserving, but I also appreciate how bewildering, intimidating, and expensive navigating that system can be for those without competent counsel. For those of us in the legal profession, our work with CLA SoCal is not just tangential, but essential to our status as members of the bar and of our local communities. So tonight, I'd like to acknowledge the hard work of CLA SoCal's staff and volunteers, without whom this organization would not be able to function. But our attorneys, staff, and volunteers cannot do this on their own. CLA SoCal needs your support in these uncertain times more than ever. We invite you to make a gift by visiting the donation page on our website at the link below. You can also easily access it by clicking the link in the chat. If you want to learn more, our website is communitylegalsocal.org. Thank you again for joining us tonight. For those of you who've purchased tickets, our activity tonight is our virtual escape room. After that, the event is over. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mike. And thank you all for joining us tonight. This concludes the event program portion of our evening, and we will say goodnight to some of you here. If you have sponsored the event or purchased tickets for the virtual escape room portion of the evening, we have a great adventure in store for you. I know that I, for one, have wanted to escape from what's been happening over the past 6 months, and I bet some of you feel the same way. And now you have a chance to do that and immerse yourself in a different reality. To enter the escape room, follow the instructions you received via email prior to tonight's event and enjoy. Once you and your team find your way out of the escape room, if you do, our evening together will conclude. So have fun, good luck, and thank you again for supporting Community Legal Aid SoCal.